and welcome back to another episode of the Soup Bowl. I am your host, Renee Murdoch, and I am so happy that you are here, that you are liking, that you're sharing, that you're subscribing, and that we are doing life together, because we were never meant to do life alone. And I am so happy to be going on this journey with you as well. We do know that when we get in the Soup Bowl, life happens and it gets messy. And in that messiness, we can clean it up, we can learn, we can grow. And that's what really we're talking about. How do we grow? How do we lead ourselves right into our becoming of who we have been created to be? Because I know that there has been this actual question that we all ask ourselves is like, what is our purpose? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be, doing in life? And so this is where, it all just kind of comes together, like about changing and transformation and, how do we get there? How do we meet our goals? And so I want to dive just a little bit deeper on today about, not being upset, but just making the necessary adjustments that needs to get done to make this necessary change into becoming of who we are. And so some people, they stay mad, like instead of moving, right? I grew up in a household where it was like, there was loving, but at the same time, like when I would see like, this individual get upset, and it's like they would stay upset, like for a very long time. And it was just like, why are you still mad about this? Right? It doesn't even make sense. Why are you still mad about this thing? It's, it's just small. So, in most adults, they're like, oh, don't cry. Don't cry about it. Right. And so here it is that if you cry, if they're crying, but they don't change, then you're complaining and you don't commit, and you rather vent than actually change your situation. Right. Tears without transformation changes absolutely nothing. Like you can sit there and cry all day long. And then after you didn't get done shedding those tears, which is okay because it gives you information. Has the situation changed? No, it has not. Right. You can cry every day and still stay stuck. You can talk about it for years and never move an inch. So feelings don't build futures, people. Decisions do. We need to make some decisions to move, to change. And some people would rather be upset than make the necessary adjustments. So I'm saying it's not helpful, right, to just complain and let everything out, and then you're not willing to make the necessary adjustments that need to be made. See, there's a difference between this pain, right, that you're processing, and then the performing of the pain. Because performing pain is when a person wants to replay it over and over and over again. They rehearse it over and over again. They retell it over and over again. They relive it over and over again. You get where I'm going with this? It's like over and over again, right? In all of this, right, the person has never released it because they're continuing to say it and tell it, rehearse it all over again. So do you know anybody that's like this? Like, can you relate to what I'm saying? If nothing changes after you're done crying, then you're not healing. You're just recycling the same things over and over again. When we refuse to let things go and continue to blame other people instead of looking in the mirror, and I have like I know what's right. I have this I'm right spirit. Like, everything I do is right. Because they said, because they did, right? This is operating in pride. And pride says that they should apologize. I shouldn't have to change. They should have to change. They need to. There's nothing wrong with what I did, right? It's just me, right? They need to deal with it. But maturity, right? Growth says that what I can do differently and how I could have handled it differently, right? Anytime there's conflict, there is this thing called sandpaper, which I love this thing. It's called, when you take sandpaper and you either rub sandpaper together or you rub sandpaper on something, what's happening? There's friction happening. And you're just, right? And you're using sandpaper to do what? You're using it to smooth out a surface. So anytime the sandpaper meets the surface, right, there's some type of conflict there. And so when we are meeting other people, right, and getting into other people's spaces, right, there's going to be some conflict. Now, conflict doesn't always have to be negative. There's positive conflict, right? But we look at conflict like just being negative, but it's there to smooth out some things, right? And so I like how, if we think about, if we want to change, how we need to be okay with the sandpaper. We need to be okay with the rubbing of the rough edges or whatever and getting things smoothed out, right? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it after all. And so can we not really come to terms of making the adjustments that's necessary? See, when we want to grow, we have to lay down our excuses. We have to say, no more, I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm just going to move ahead and do what I need to do. Because leaders, which you are a leader, because I believe all of us are leaders, right, don't live in reaction. They live in response. Reaction is emotional. It's also dangerous. It's responses, right, that's you're intentionally, right, trying to hurt somebody, but are you intentionally trying to hurt somebody? Being in your feelings and causing a scene will give you attention. You better believe that. You ever seen someone at the store and they're just making a whole scene because, right, they didn't get the exact change back, or somebody behind them accidentally ran into their foot with the shopping cart? So you're going to get your attention. But does it give you advancement? Does it? Did you still get your change back? Did you still get to take that item back? Or did it just leave you looking foolish? See, you may say that I need closure and they need to apologize to me. I'm really talking to myself right now because that was me. They need to talk to me and I need to talk this out. But closure is not always about conversation. Sometimes it's just making the decision, you know what? That's all right. Okay. I'm good. Whatever. I understand what was said, what happened, and I'm going to move on from there. Because if I stay in a position of they owe me, you know what they did to me, I can't believe, if I stay in that position, then it's going to affect my future. And if you allow that to affect your future, then that is what's holding you back, right, from your becoming. If you allow your emotions to drive your decision and stay in the same place, you are sabotaging opportunities, connections. You're delaying, right, of your breakthrough. Opportunities come every single day. But if we stay in a place of not wanting to make the necessary adjustments, we will miss those opportunities. So who really is benefiting from you or anyone else being upset? Who's benefiting from it? No one is benefiting from it. I can tell you, no one's benefiting from it. I had to learn to forgive, and I had to learn to forgive quickly. And I learned this by multiple accounts. There were times where, I can start with, in childhood, right? And I can say, oh, I had to forgive my siblings or whatever. But that really wasn't like I guess I would say giant. I would say it really was my mother. I had to learn to forgive my mother, right? She did her best or whatever. But when you're a child, you don't look at it like that. You look like, oh my God. Like I usually be like, my mother's crazy. Like literally she's crazy. And so, but I didn't understand the things that she was going through. I didn't understand about being a single mother and, having to make it and have 4 children and you're doing all these things on your own. I didn't understand about being in your late 20s and having a hysterectomy and everything that comes along with that and the hormones and going through menopause early on. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand about working 2 jobs and making sure and moving around to try to make sure that my children were in a good school system, making sure that my children still had activities. And although I did not know how I was going to keep the lights on, I didn't understand that. So what did I do? I imitated, right, what I saw my mother do in raising children. And so if you're from another generation, maybe I think they call it the silent generation, and then the baby boomers, and that generation, they like beat their children, like literally beat their children down. And so in my generation, that's like called abuse. And then now, yes, you're going to jail. And so, but that's what they did. Like there wasn't a conversation. There wasn't like an understanding like, oh, what am I missing here? But it's more or less, oh, I need to give them. I need to give them. I need to provide for them. Although love can really replace that. But in that time frame, I felt like I was missing out. It was my truth, and I felt like I was missing out on things. I felt like, I wasn't being able to be heard, right? Like before I could even get anything out, like there was words that was spoken out of my mother's mouth that was really hurtful, because our words carry weight. And so here it is, a young child, and you're carrying this, and you're growing up, and you're seeing certain things and making certain moves, and you're just like, yeah, I don't want that. And so it prevented me from actually having a relationship with my mother until like I actually got older. And so I can see in a different lens. But I had to forgive quickly. If I did not, then it was going to impact my future and how I showed up in spaces, or how I showed up in my relationships with other people, even with my siblings, even with my daughter, right? Even with my brother. Like it was showing up. But learning to forgive quickly allowed me to start moving in the direction that I knew that I needed to go in for my life. And then even now, things happen at work. Things happen, in my marriage. But if I learn to forgive quickly, we can move forward, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, life together. So I want to give you an assignment. I'm going to give you an assignment because I like giving out assignments. That's what I do. I give out assignments. I even give my daughter out assignments, right? She's always complaining. You're always trying to make life a lesson. Life is a lesson. So I'm going to give you an assignment, right? So the next time this thought comes up in your mind and you're thinking, oh, I need to, what they did to me and this and that or whatever. The next time that thought comes up in your mind and you feel like you need to tell this again to someone else, or repeat it to the same person again, right? And rehearse it again. The next time that it comes up, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to be like, and I just want you to release it. And I want you to do that 3 times. And after those 3 times, I'm telling you, you're going to pause and you're going to say, what value will this bring? What value will this bring? If it's not bringing any value, then there's no need to rehearse it. There's no need to retell it. Let it go and make the necessary adjustments and forgive quickly. You cannot control other people, but you can control your responses. And so we're out of time for today. So I want you to do that homework and turn it in. Turn it in, okay? Turn it in. Email me because I want to see the results. Okay. But no, do know that leading is teachable, right? Visit our website at www.4mosaic.com so you can get some more information. We can talk. We can chat it up. I'm here for you. I'm here to go on the journey with you, whatever that it may be. Until next time, I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it.